Hello, this is Dale Matthews. I host with Mike Jones every night of the week on badcounty.com a show called Inside News. And this is Mike Jones. Hello, Mike.
Hey, Dale. How's it going?
Well,
As you
tonight
can see,
we're doing something a little bit different. We are reviewing a movie. Reviewing it, actually, here's what we're doing. Spoiler alert. Do not watch this show. Well, who does anyway? But don't watch this show if you haven't seen the latest Star Wars movie. Don't watch it. All that we're doing is having a little bit of fun, talking about some of the things that we notice, some of the things we like, some of the questions we have about the latest Star Wars movie. You're not going to want to watch this show if you haven't seen the movie. One, is it not going to make a lot of sense? And two, it's going to spoil some things because we're going to talk about every dang secret that's in this movie. So, you've been warned. Don't watch this show. We got to start every show that way, Mike. Our politics show as well.
yes, I like it.
Okay, so this is how we went to the theater.
Yes, that's right.
That's right. So here's something that you might notice about these glasses. I don't know if you have the same one in your community where you're watching this. We're in Josephine County, Oregon. Why in the world, with the possibilities out there for marketing, didn't Disney brand these glasses and people want to buy them whether they saw the movie or not?
Yeah, you're right. They're dropping the ball. Not that they aren't making enough money on this. I think they are.
Well, what a loss, though. I mean, just put a logo right there, with Mickey looking like a Jedi, and it'd be right in the middle, and people would buy them and they'd collect them. Okay, look, the other thing. Okay, now I'm going to look like one of the pilots of the X-wing fighters. Now we are not going to get everything right. Oh, don't call us and say it was not 2 millimeters; it was 1 millimeter. Okay, all right. You know more about it than we do. The only purpose for the show is to have a little bit of fun and to point out that there are some things to start you talking about some of the things you either noticed or you went, yeah, I wondered about that. Was just to get the conversation rolling, and then you can go ahead and impress your friends with how much you know about every tiny little piece about the belt buckle on some character in episode 3. It's okay with us. This is not supposed to be an exhaustive thing. But speaking of not exhaustive, I saw this at the store, and as Mike is a Star Wars fan, I just had to get this little coffee mug for Christmas for Mike.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it's filled full of candies, right? Here at the top.
All right.
And it's obviously, this is C-3PO. No, it's not. I know it's not. It's R2-D2. And it's just for Mike.
Is it ceramic?
It is. It's a coffee cup.
I'll be done.
And it's got
Amazing.
candies in it for now. So you'll enjoy this, I think.
That's great.
Unless you keep it as a collectible.
I run on candy.
Yes. Okay. See, he's going to do that. And then later on, he'll say, why did I not keep that? Because it's now worth $1,000. But he's going to eat the candy instead and then break the coffee cup. So,
yes, that's what I'll do.
So we're going to say the things that we know. It's a spoiler alert. Don't watch this show. And don't worry about the fact that you know much more about Star Wars than we'll ever know or maybe even care to know. We're going to do what we can. Right. We're just going to mention a few things.
Now we're getting repetitive. Let's just get into this thing here.
Okay. Now, you all know that that this Star Wars saga started off with episode number 4. That was in 1977, and that was the Disco Star Wars. As you can see, the Death Star was a disco ball in that version. In 1977, I was still in junior high school. Mike was a small child in diapers or something. And no, not quite right. Okay. And so we enjoyed the episode called A New Hope in 1977. Then 3 years later, they had another one, The Empire Strikes Back. And then 3 years later, it was a long time waiting, Return of the Jedi. And then they went back.
I think everybody that's watching this knows all of that. The only people that would be interested in watching this know all of that already.
Well, okay. And then you also know that we've waited 10 years since 2005 for this episode which is supposed to be a continuation of where we were with episode 6. I posited that the reason this movie was so repetitive and playing the same themes as before is that episode 5 was a bridge between 4 and 6, not only numerically, but in its content. This episode, since Disney acquired Lucasfilm for $4 billion, that this director that did this did not want to screw up the franchise and decided to throw out there to us the characters from 1983 was the last time we saw them. Over 30 years later, he just was kind of, as they did with Star Trek, The Next Generation, or not just Star Trek, he wanted to show us, sorry, I made that little mistake, just stop it. He wanted to give us something simple that would remind us of where we were and not screw up the franchise. And that's why it was so repetitive. Mike, we did notice the repetition.
Yeah, I tend to think that what was going on here was that, you had there's a whole new generation of people that are seeing this movie. And maybe they haven't seen any of the others, but they wanted to hook them in and, suck them into the franchise. And I think they did very effectively. But you'll notice that a lot of this movie is exactly the same as A New Hope.
Exactly the same.
It starts out in exactly the same way. They deposit some information into the belly of this droid, and the droid goes off on an adventure, and we follow the droid and meet up with the hero or heroine in this particular case. And there is one of the posters that they put out sort of betrays who the central characters are in this, and that's this one here, and you'll notice that very central to things here in the center of this is Han Solo, and then there's Rey right there, and then you have Kylo Ren off on the left-hand side there, and the Finn, who was a stormtrooper and who is now fighting on the side of the Resistance, is off to the side there, and this really tells you about these characters and how they are in the movie. The central character of this movie really is Rey.
It is. Now, this new director of this franchise did not want to screw up his relationship with Disney, for sure. So this guy is not going to make any mistakes. They paid $4 billion with a B for this, and so they're going to want to put a Disney brand on everything, and this guy's going to want to make absolutely sure that he pleases not so much the younger kids. Where he could get his head handed to him is if he screws this up with the veteran Star Wars fans, of course. And so here you are seeing all this stuff that's recycled from before. I didn't hate it. It just was, well, these are recycled plot elements and even graphics and the cantina scene. And some of these things look like they were actually from, when the rebels, why they're rebels, who are they rebelling against? I have no idea. And when they have their get together, why it looks like it's the same stuff from the previous movies, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So we're not going to be doing this in any kind of order. We're just going to talk about it as we wish, because that pleases us. So, in this case, Luke watched Obi-Wan die, and then Rey watches Han Solo die. Told you not to watch this if you didn't, Now, we all know that Luke, with his current powers, may even have the power to bring someone back from the dead. So can Han Solo come back in this environment? He might be able to.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. That was a long fall down that shaft, and at the bottom of that shaft was low into the earth or into that planet that they were on, and then the planet exploded. So how you're putting that stardust back together, I think that's a tall order.
Well, the emperor, the first time we saw the emperor, we saw him via a hologram, and then the first time we see Snoke, he appears via hologram. Except here's this huge guy. Is he really that big, or has he just got some kind of god complex where he wants to appear to be that big? We don't know.
Well, yeah, before we get too far afield, we've already bounced off one end of the show and the other.
Yeah.
Is that in the beginning it starts out in the traditional Star Wars title crawl,
Yeah.
and it opens saying that Luke Skywalker is missing, and that in an attempt to save the galaxy from the menace of the New Order, Leia, and she's now General Leia, is pursuing the boy, this is horrible. I should know these names right. The New Order. Let's call it the New World Order.
Yeah. Don't worry about getting exactly right. This is just
yes. Anyway, she's pursuing the New Order and wanting to bring some sort of balance back to the galaxy, and she is attempting to find Luke somewhere, wherever he is, and bring him back to restore balance to the Force. And so then that opens the beginning of this episode, and then of course they meet with an older character from the previous Star Wars, who is now a very old man. I forget the name of that guy. Dale, what's his name? Do you know?
They meet with an older character. Well, they're all older, a lot older.
Yes, that's true. But anyway.
Sorry, well, 10,000 people already know who we're talking about, so don't worry about it. Look, I said this was going to be a random order. So Luke decided that he's so disappointed that he could not train his nephew, that he's going to shut himself off from, not just from the world, from the universe, okay, far, far away. And Han Solo decides to sort of become some guy that's hanging around and selling stuff and contraband. Look, there's a fight going on. Why is nobody upset with Luke and with Han, who are the heroes and everything? Why are they not upset with these guys just abandoning everybody when it looks like there's a bigger threat than ever? Look at this big threat that's out there. I mean, it's Disney coming to get you. And why is nobody more upset with these guys for just abandoning their commitment to the universe?
Well, and some of that lies in the fact that the last episode that we saw with Han, Leia, and Luke in it, they were 35 years younger than they are right now. So maybe some water went under the bridge, and but there is something that betrays the storyline here, that if you remember when Rey went and picked up Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah.
And then begins flashing back and all of this stuff, not flashing back, but just having images of what has taken place in the past. And she sees Luke's, skeletal mechanical hand touching R2-D2, and
yeah. But the lightsaber was red, wasn't it? Luke doesn't have a red lightsaber.
No.
Bad guys have red lightsabers.
No, this lightsaber is like kind of bluish.
Anyway, well, my mistake.
It is his lightsaber. So anyway, and then she also sees images of the betrayal of Kylo Ren, and apparently there's some dastardly thing that he did that caused Luke to exile himself in shame. And so then
it's not very brave, but okay.
No, but you also see an image of a little girl.
And that's her.
Right. It is her. And she's going, "Mommy, you don't leave me. And mommy is blasting off in a spaceship. Okay. And so this is obviously Ray, and where she's being abandoned on that planet. And if you remember, when she gets her half portion from the guy that she's selling space junk to, and she goes back and cooks that, after she takes it out of the pot and goes over to eat it, she's making marks on the wall, of which there are many.
Waiting for them to come back. Somebody told her to stay there. Who the heck told her to stay there?
Right. Yes.
He was going to stay there and even give up the idea of flying around the universe with somebody that kind of likes her and she kind of likes him.
Yeah. I got some speculation about that, but
Okay. Look, well, just jump in anytime you want with this, but I'm looking at this and I'm saying, now hold on a second here. There's so many questions. Like why is it that the son doesn't look anything like the mom or the dad? I mean, okay, Carrie Fisher has this little pug nose, okay? Mm-hmm. And Harrison Ford has got a kind of a regular nose. Where'd this Pinocchio guy come from?
Yeah, and what Dale's talking about there is this is Ben Solo, and what you're seeing him there as Ben Solo, but who he really is in this movie is Kylo Ren, and that's this guy right here.
Head of the Knights of Ren or something, and where are the other knights? Oh, don't worry about it.
Right. Yes. Anyway, so.
I don't see it.
Right there. Yeah, there it is, right there. That's Kylo Ren.
Okay, all right. Now, so here's another question, Mike. Why the heck is this guy wearing a mask? He doesn't need to wear a mask. Wearing a mask just makes things harder for him.
Well,
that's no reason to wear a mask except to make it look as if this is just like the previous episodes. It's the only reason.
Well, yes, right. And that is why they did it. But he's sort of worshiping his grandfather, who is Darth Vader. And he spends a little bit of time during this movie talking to his dead grandfather's mask. He should have spent a little time reflecting that his father flipped back from the dark side at the end of his life, instead of trying to complete what his grandfather started. What he should have done is realize, hey, you know what? My grandfather, after doing all that he did, abandoned the dark side at the end of his life.
Right. Look, and here's another thing about this whole deal. First of all, we liked the movie. Okay, we liked it. Okay. But we're just talking about the plot elements that are open, and how with any other franchise in the world that's this popular, there's no way that the fans would let him get away with this. But that's okay. Going to see it anyway. Happy to see it. In a year, there will be another one. It won't be a continuation of this saga. It'll be a complete standalone thing. It's going to be called Rogue One, and that'll be in almost exactly a year. They've already started shooting it, and it will have stars in it that you've never seen before, never heard of. Who knows if we ever will again. It's not part of this saga. It's completely something else. Okay, well, we're getting kind of used to that with all the cartoons and everything else, but they've already announced it, and they're already shooting this. Okay, they started back this summer. Okay, so but in this particular case, remember that at the end of 6, here was Yoda and Ben. Gee, another Ben, and also Ben Kenobi. And also Darth Vader, previous Darth Vader, and they were all happy and smiling, and they were gonna, and they are there to give advice to these guys anytime they want it. So why is this guy saying to his dead grandfather, "I need your advice about what to do"? The guy is always there to give him advice.
Yeah, that's a very good. That's a very good point. That's a very good point. Why isn't his grandfather appearing to him as this apparition, as they have in previous episodes there, and counseling him on what he's doing wrong?
Don't do this, Ben. I mean, you could be telling him on an everyday basis, talking to him, sending him emails, telex or
yes, right. That's true.
But okay, so it's a plot hole. I want to see the movie. I'm not sure I want to see it again immediately. We saw the 3D version, but of course I wanted to see them. Of course, I'll go see the next one. I'll probably go see Rogue One when it comes out. Okay, no big problems with that. But there are some plot elements that are just not only repetitive, but just don't make any doggone sense. They
Mm-hmm.
just don't. For example,
Such as.
well, why would Luke leave a map inside R2D2 of where he is, and why does the map have a kind of a line that you have to follow? They all can stand in the middle of this cycling thing of 3D objects and all,
Right.
and all you need to do is put I am here. You don't need to put a path of go here first, stop for a DQ ice cream, and then go over here and buy something from the buy some popcorn from the stand here, in the theater, and then go buy some Disney paraphernalia, and and then for your friends at Christmas. There's no need to show a path. What's the path all about? Why leave it with R2D2, and they could get it out of R2D2 anytime they wanted to, can't they?
Yeah, and listen, if you're trying to leave and exile yourself, why are you even leaving a map to where you're at anyway?
Exactly.
And if you're so in tune with the Force, how come you don't know that they need you back there right now?
Right.
That's another one of the questions.
Okay, I assume that when Luke was standing there looking out over the sea, is this all he does every day, all day long? Okay, we know why they gave him a beard and mustache, because this guy looks like Keith Richards. Time has not been nice to him. And when I saw Leia, I choked up a little bit. I thought, oh my gosh, not that I was so excited to see Leia again, but what happened to Leia? You see how I'm Leia today? Woohoo! See my sticky buns that are on site? Yeah. Well, actually, I'm Mickey today. I'm Mickey Mouse. Well, anyway, I usually
35 years,
Yeah. Well, apparently she had to slim down for this role.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So okay. So I
And
just kind of
by the way,
to see what had happened to her. My gosh. Go ahead.
I got to tell you, this woman is one of the funniest people you'd ever want to meet. I saw
a specials. Yeah.
I saw a number of interviews with her leading up to the release of this thing. God, she's funny. She is hilarious, man. They're interviewing like 3 people. You forget the other people are in the room. It's only her, Really amazing.
Well, just like Keith Richards, apparently drugs have also had some kind of effect on her. Okay, but she's here. She's starring in this. Now, why would you think that, if it's true that Han is completely and utterly dead, why would he not want to be in any of these future episodes?
You know what? I mean, Harrison Ford is 73 years old.
Yeah, isn't everybody in this movie?
Yeah, what do we want from this guy? I mean, you got to let him off the hook at some point, and I guess they just did. But anyway, this is Leia and Han. That's their final embrace before he goes off to die. And but there's an interesting thing that I can't find a picture of anywhere, and that is, and really the big question in this movie. There is a big question, and the big question is, who is this person right here? Who is Rey?
Who is she? I asked you that question. First thing I said to Mike at the end of the film, who is Rey?
Yeah, who is Rey? And so what we were talking about a little bit earlier with the scratchings on the wall and the visions when she's touching the lightsaber. And a lot of people are thinking that this is Luke Skywalker's daughter. I do not think that's the case here. I believe that Rey is Han Solo's daughter that he does not know about. And I believe that because there was a sort of a rocky romance between Han Solo and Leia.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
Okay,
all right, but this girl has Force powers, apparently, that she didn't really know much about. So she can't get that from Han.
Yes, she can get it from Leia.
No, wait. You think that maybe that she's not necessarily Han's daughter. She's Leia's daughter. She would have to get it from someone that's got the Force in them. She can't just get it from
Right,
Han.
but there are two people involved in those type of situations, typically speaking. Unless
So she's not necessarily his daughter. She is
no, she is his daughter.
Leia's daughter.
No, she is the daughter of both of them.
And he doesn't know he had a daughter with Leia.
No, right. Yeah,
Oh.
that's what I think is going on here. Is
Wow.
that I think that because if you see the embrace between General Leia, Princess Leia, at the end of this, and Rey, there's a familial thing going on here.
I assume that's because that's her niece, but okay.
Okay, but where's the love interest that became who is the mother of this Rey? Who's that?
Yeah, we're not quite getting there yet.
Yeah, see, we already know about this love interest that happened, obviously, and they had some rocky. They were on again, off again.
That's true. Well, they would be, wouldn't they? They're both type A personalities,
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Why? This is all over the place. Why is it possible for Rey to speak Wookiee when nobody else in any other movie was able to speak Wookiee?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Why can she not only speak Wookiee? And wait a minute, though, can she speak Wookiee? I know that she
understands him. Nobody ever speaks Wookiee. Everyone, but right, only Han could understand what Wookiees were saying. Nobody else, except for R2D2. I mean, except for C3PO, understand the Wookiee at all. Nobody, but she does.
Yeah.
Why does she? Okay,
right,
and may never be explained.
And but also right off the bat, as soon as she meets up with this BB-8 droid that looks like a soccer ball that's orange, she can talk to that thing right off the bat.
Yeah,
she knows its language.
People are going to say that's because she's got the Force inside of her and allows her to do things like get inside the Millennium Falcon and know where everything is and how to fix everything and how to fly the dang thing. When she wasn't flying stuff on that planet, she wasn't flying anything, was she?
Well, we don't know that, do we?
Yeah, probably not. Why is it the Millennium Falcon? You must say everything with a British accent in this. All of the bad guys are British Nazis, okay, and we must speak with. There's something in this universe that favors a British accent, and so the Millennium Falcon, not Falcon, this thing is considered to be junk. Why is it considered junk? Because as soon as you get in it, off it flies. And so this guy that has this in his possession for all these years, or that's been there for years, this guy never tries to sell it, right?
Yeah, right.
And so it just sits there, and he looks surprised, like, the Millennium Falcon. No, he doesn't know what it is. This thing is flying. Why? It's not junk. It never was trash or junk or whatever she was saying that it was. It was perfectly fine. It was better than maybe better than the one that blew up. Don't forget that this ran the, I'm going to try to get this right. Please don't jump on me, everybody. This ran the Kessler run.
The Kessel run.
12 parsecs.
Right. And it's silly.
Yeah, well, okay. And it still apparently can do such things as long as you reach in, pull out a vital piece of something, and now it's running fine.
Yes.
Okay. And so what's the deal also with an ex-janitor? Really? I mean, okay, I get it. You could see they put in an Asian guy. You can see him in the planning room, and you can see that women are now stormtroopers, and so now you got a black guy that's got to be in there. Okay, and it's very nice that you've got these, there were other stormtroopers who you could hear that they had, even though you couldn't see their faces, they had women's voices. And so this guy is a black guy. He's one of the main characters. Okay, that's cool, I guess. We live in a different time now than we did before, but really, did they have to make him a janitor? I mean, I could just see people say, "Yay, we got a black guy in Star Wars!" Boo! Well, he was a janitor.
He worked in sanitation, is what.
Yeah. Okay. So this ex-janitor guy, the first time he's ever held a lightsaber, because people don't use lightsabers. They don't use them. They use blasters. First time he ever holds a lightsaber, he can hold his own against Kylo Ren, who's been doing this from birth. Really? I can understand why she could because she's got the Force, but this guy's got the nothing. How is he able to fight this guy off? Why isn't he dead with the first blow?
Yeah, good question.
And Kylo Ren barely wins the fight, suggesting that, like this guy is not really at one with the dark side, first of all. And second, all this training he's done all of his life is pretty much worthless if he can't defeat a janitor that's never touched a lightsaber in his life.
Okay. All right. Yes, there you have that one. That sums that one up. And the female character that Dale's talking about is this gal. Whoops, no, hang on.
And they put out. I've seen them. They put out characters that you can buy, little dolls and stuff, and she's one of them. But she has this like role, this like minuscule in this movie, and maybe we're going to see more from her in the past and then future in the past. Well, this was a long time ago.
Yes, but, that's right. It was.
She didn't get a chance. Did a lot of her footage end up on the cutting room floor? Well, they don't have a cutting room anymore, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, and you know what? It's interesting. I don't know what this gal's name is who plays this gal, but I know
there are plenty of people who do.
I know who this gal is because she is, or she was she's one of the characters in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah,
she played one of the dragons.
No. She played one of the she the only tall, shall we say, dykish blonde gal.
Oh, is that really her? Oh,
yeah,
I didn't recognize her. Didn't recognize her at all. I didn't get a chance to see much of her.
Yeah, I didn't recognize. That's because she never takes this helmet off at all.
Well, she did at some point, didn't she?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's really good recognition. Does she still have blonde hair?
Yes, she does.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
because I saw her interview.
Okay. Luke Skywalker is this premium guy that character in their universe, but takes a really long time to learn how to use the Force, right? It takes him a long time. Remember the scene in the swamp and oh
yeah.
It was so useless. But Rey is as good as he is, almost as good as he is, in using the Force, and she doesn't even know she has it. Well, right. Really? Wow, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, Luke,
she's not 30 years older.
Luke struggled for all that time just learning how to move things with his mind, and she's got lightsabers flying through the air into her hand from 50 feet away. Right. And flying past a guy who is a Force veteran.
He's a force to be reckoned with.
Yes, he is. And interesting, we were talking about where Rey goes and touches the lightsaber. They were at this gal's place. Her name is Maz something or other. I can't remember the. Yeah. And you know what? I couldn't find any good pictures of her out on the internet because her character was kind of a secret. But this is the best that I can find, and this is a blow up from a poster.
Wow.
But the gal that plays her, this is a very interesting technology. They have this helmet that they put on that shines lights at their face, and every movement that they make in their face is mimicked in the character that they create.
Yes. This technology has not been around that long. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. They use that cool. They use that in. It's not going to come to me. Okay, stop giving me the answer. I can't hear you. I know you're yelling at your screen and saying the answer, but it's the one where everyone's on this kind of jungle-looking kind of planet, forest-looking planet, and you're in one place, and really you're appearing in another place. And anyway, they use that on that one as well. Okay, so here's another question. The First Order. Obviously it's not the First Order, is it? It's like the Last Order. But the First Order wants to destroy the Republic. And one of the reasons they want to destroy the Republic, they said, is because the Republic is supporting the Resistance. What resistance? What resistance? Who are they resisting? They're not resisting the Republic. Who are they resisting? Why are they called the Resistance? Why do they have a base? They're resisting who? The Order. I mean, okay, the First Order. But why are they still called the Resistance? They're on the same side as the Republic, right? So what's this resistance stuff?
Well, yeah, I guess it would be the Republic Resistance. It's they refer to it in the movie as the government that supports the resistance is the Republic.
Yeah, well, it is a little bit like the resistors to the Republican Party, isn't it? There's the Republic, and then you've got the resistors. And what did we call those today? What do we call the people who are in the Republican Party but are fighting against the Republican Party?
Well, I don't know what we call them. I know what we call the people in the Republican Party that they're fighting against, and that would be the establishment, aka Rhino.
Right. But there are people within the Republican Party I was trying to get to, because Mike knows more about the Republican Party than I do, although we've been going to a number of their meetings and stuff, and that's the people who are kicking against the formal establishment, and they are the resistance to the Republican Party within the Republican Party.
Okay. Anyway. I mean, I guess in a manner of speaking, you could say the conservatives or the Tea Party, but you know what? Yeah, that's you know, this is the wrong place for this discussion. But you know, there are a lot of people, a lot of the establishment people in the Republican Party think that they're conservatives. We're conservatives. Those Tea Party people are just a bunch of whack jobs. That's what they think. You know.
All right. So here's this guy Finn. And he refuses to kill children and innocent people and stuff. Really, this guy's been raised from almost from birth. Just almost, he was taken away, similar to the way that lead female character was taken away and put somewhere. Except he was taken up to, headquarters for the New Order, for the First Order. And this is the first time that he's done any military exercise at all, I guess, because usually he's a janitor. Is this the first big bad thing he's ever had to do, and he just suddenly decides he's not going to do it?
Apparently, that's what he kind of says, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So, all right, so this guy, he's an ex-janitor, okay? He goes AWOL. He's no longer a stormtrooper. And they're hunting everywhere for this guy. They've got tens of thousands. They've got 100,000 warriors. What's their problem? So this janitor guy goes missing. Big deal. Maybe they really need janitors?
Yeah, but it isn't just that, because if you recall, in the beginning, we're leaving out this guy who is not really a major character, but he is a character in this and is going to be a character in the future. And that is this this pilot is, alleged best pilot in the Resistance, and that's Poe. And this is the picture right when Finn pulls Poe off into a side room and tells him that he's going to rescue him, and can you pilot a TIE fighter, and let's get the heck off of this ship and get out of here. And
but my main thing here about this, what I'm trying to say is, the second in charge to Ren is this woman that we don't see very much. That's from a land where dragons fly. Okay. And so she is immediately informed that somebody has left the First Order. Really? And this guy, and before she even knows that he's done anything to help anybody, she's being talked to about this. Well, why is she being talked to about this? And sure as heck, almost immediately, there's something else going on. And then the head guy needs to know about all this, right? Really? That's a really important janitor guy. It's really important, apparently. It just seems strange that he's such center stage without a real good reason, except as a plot element.
Well, yes, but of course, the reason is that the guy had a droid that has the information that they want, and that guy helped him escape. Finn helped him escape.
And then they're going to go
now,
after, of course,
then they're going to go after the droid. So they want all of these people because all of these people can then lead them to the information that they want.
Okay, so the head general, who's kind of vying with Rin for some kind of favor from this huge, hologram.
Mm-hmm.
He points out that Rin made a big mistake on thinking that we told you not to watch this if you hadn't seen this movie. He points out that Rin made a big mistake on grabbing up the girl instead of the girl and the robot, or just the robot. He should have gotten both. So this guy has the force going with him, and he doesn't realize apparently that she's got the force in her, not at the beginning, and he's surprised that she's able to resist him, and he doesn't know enough to grab up the robot. That seems a little odd. He should have grabbed them both. He could have.
And the explanation for that is that he thought, with his powers of the force, he's always been able to retrieve information from people. He retrieved the information from Poe when he got him back on the ship.
Yes.
He retrieved the information that guy put the information into the droid and sent the droid off. So he knew that so he thought that he could do that exact same thing to Rey, and it turns out that she used the force right back at him and, called him out on the fact that he feels inferior to Darth Vader, and that intimidated him, and he flipped out.
Well, I want to go back a little bit. So Han's son joins the First Order. Okay, that's weird. And Luke is trying to train new Jedis, more than one, and that doesn't go right. Okay. So both of these guys react by abandoning the Resistance to be utterly slaughtered by the First Order.
Yeah, and
why is everybody upset with them?
Okay, all right.
She's just mildly upset with Luke, and mildly upset Leia is with her husband, former husband. She's not that upset with him.
Yeah, I don't think they ever married. They were living in sin, for crying out loud.
Oh, well, then they get everything they deserve.
Yes. Well, you know what? You know what is odd is that in this particular movie, we have seen so many people in this movie franchise who have received some sort of absolution.
Yeah.
For killing millions of people.
That's right.
I mean, how many planets did they blow up using the Death Star? Was it just Alderaan, or were there more than that? And I
think that was the first one.
Right. Yes, but in this particular one here, they blew up like 4 or 5 planets, which contained members of the Republic. On those planets, they blew those up. Those had to have millions of people on them.
Okay, really? His dad sees him. Right, they're on this walkway.
Well, I wasn't finished with my point.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
My point is that they're still pursuing Kylo Ren. They're gonna save his soul. This guy's the worst Hitler that ever existed in the galaxy. And we're somehow going to save this guy's soul and turn him into one of the head Jedis in the Jedi Order there. Come on.
And so when they're seeing each other on this walkway, his dad says, well, come on back. Oh, well, this is such an effective argument. And the others see that they can't really hear what they're saying, probably, and they see them confronting each other. They've got blasters. They could just kill Kylo Ren, supposedly, with a blast from afar, but instead they're going to wait to see the very effective technique that Han Solo is going to use to talk to his son, and his son says to him, and this, I'm hoping they will explain this, well, he takes off his mask, which you realize, hey, Pinocchio, why'd you have this mask on in the first place? He takes the mask off, and then he talks to his dear dad, and he almost seems like he's, feeling bad about all this. He sure looks like he is. And he says, I just don't have the courage that it takes to do this thing. And his dad says, well, I'll help you any way I can. And then he kills his dad. The courage to do what? Who's telling him you got to do this? Who's telling him? Nobody said kill Han Solo. What? The courage to do what? it makes you think. It's almost like that thing where if you kill a character, almost exactly the same as Ben. What did Ben do? Okay, Ben like held up his hands, or he just stood there. No, he just stood there while they slaughtered him. And Luke says, "No," just like what's her name says in this movie. No, is this something where you're supposed to do it because it's part? Doesn't it seem reminiscent of that?
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see the floating apparition of Han Solo, consoling Rey that, hey, everything's okay.
Even though he's not part of the Force, yeah, you would sure think so.
Hey, wait a minute. Everybody's a part of the Force.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it's part of this show. Look, it was, as I remember, he just sort of stood there and let it happen, and he let Darth Vader kill him, and everyone's like, "Why the heck did you do that?" You just stood there and let him slaughter him because it'll be stronger than you ever can imagine. Well,
right, yes.
Really? And so doesn't
apparently.
Han do exactly the same thing? And what does his son mean when he says, "I don't have the courage to do what must be done"? What must be done? I'm hoping they explain it and don't just leave that hanging out there.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to get a lot of answers in the next episode here.
We better.
Well, we're going to find out who Rey is. We're going to find out what's going on with Luke. Why has he been out there so long?
Is he going to accept the lightsaber?
Yeah, right. Yes, she's holding it out.
Holding it out.
It would be rude to not take it, I think.
Yeah, and maybe somebody can explain why this General Hux guy, they're about to destroy a planet, and he has to pull all of his troops together to tell them that he's going to press a button. Why do they need to know this? I mean, including the janitors in the crowd. Why do they want to leave your work? Come out of here. I'm going to give you this briefing that everybody can hear, which is pretty amazing that everybody could hear that, right, without any kind of sound system. And he's going to explain to them, this is Casimir the Great, was here for 600 years and his people flourished. No, wait, that's another movie. And today is a day you will remember because the Jewish ghetto will just be a memory.
Well, and I'll tell you that was very reminiscent of some Hitler tirade. It really was. I mean, even the visuals there sort of led you to believe that that's what they were going for.
There are just some elements here that just what I think is going to happen is that some of the stuff was just thrown in there. And they're not going to explain why, for example, Rey and Finn just stood there watching and then yelling, "No!" When Ren murders Han. And they start shooting, but it's a little late. Her ability to shoot and Finn's ability to shoot, just a fly off of a wall, suddenly isn't working so well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, they had a storyline that they wanted to. I mean, listen, you can't discount that in this. This is what's going on here. That these people had to witness it to have the effect that they wanted, but they didn't do anything about it because that character needs to continue. The Kylo Ren character needs to continue into the following episodes of this. So and we know that even though the planet blew up, the evil character, what's his name? Snoke. Yeah, that's really bad. Snoke. Yes, Snoke. Snoke is saying you got to go get that guy because we need to complete his training. So they obviously go and get him. And there's obviously like a little time disconnect there because Chewie is in the Millennium Falcon. He sees Rey over there with Finn on the ground. They need to pick him up. And then the next scene is they show the Millennium Falcon's already on the ground. He has already gone and picked Finn up and is carrying him into the Millennium Falcon. Well, that's plenty of time for them also to launch and go over there and pick that guy up and pick him up and take off of there before the planet blows up. I'm assuming.
We've been through this thing twice before with big Death Stars. Twice before.
Mm-hmm.
And every time, the way to defeat one is there's this one little thing.
Yes, that's right.
And if you get that, and then you fly in real low in the same kind of tunnels, why, it's every single time. What's all the rest of this for? I mean, here they've got this thing that shoots out a death ray, okay, and it's got this, there's a panel, and it's just like the movies where all you have to do is crawl through the ventilator shafts. They could shut off every ventilator shaft, or at least put something there. And there's always this thing in the back that the janitor knows about, or somebody knows about.
It's a planet, for crying out loud. It's a planet. Why didn't they put the vulnerability 3 miles deep in the ground, for crying out loud? Where no X-wing fighter can get to it.
And it's always something that some small group of people can figure out, and then they send in a swarm of fighters to get past these guys that have been training all of their lives, and they're fighters. They aren't very good fighters, these TIE wing fighters, are they? Because they're just being destroyed right and left, and then the whole thing blows up, and then they've got nowhere to go home, and then what are they going to do? They're going to move to Anaheim, I guess.
Yes,
and then they're going to work at the Disney Star Wars land or something. No, okay, we enjoyed the movie. Yes, we did. But then, and I guess it's predictable if you're, it's a given the kids are going to love it. Okay, I mean, we saw kids in line. They've never been to the movies to see this. Of course, they're too young for that. It's 10 years since the last time. They've seen them on videos, of course. But they've got us to deal with, the people who are loyal fans. And they just gave us all this loyalty stuff. It's the same thing. It's a bridge. Like I was saying before, episode 5 was a bridge between 4 and 6. It was sort of more of the same. Episode 7 here is a bridge between 6 and today. It's been 10 years. So they're just going to, like they did with Star Trek, they're just going to give us, oh, look, ride down memory lane. They're not going to introduce a bunch of new stuff. I'm just grateful. I'm grateful beyond measure. One thing that I just thank the maker, as C-3PO says, that they didn't include a recurrence of our least favorite character of all time.
Hallelujah.
Mike?
Yes,
and
Jar
Mike
Jar
knows
Binks.
Jar Jar Binks. We
I
were
have
standing
no
in line.
Of Jar Jar Binks.
No, well, good. We were standing in line joking about that, and the people behind us just couldn't stop but insert and say, oh, yes. Thank God. So maybe in a future episode, as you notice, sort of in the cantina, there's, kind of hearkening back to kind of Jamaican kind of music. Maybe a future episode will be all on a planet with nothing but Jar Jar Binks people. Wouldn't that be lovely? Yes, I think I would go see that, but I'd take a bag with me that would be on my lap. Wow, what a huge mistake. This guy could have made a big mistake. $4 billion. He's going to try to keep this franchise safe. And so he took the safe way out.
It already is. They projected they've made $500 million over this first weekend here.
And half of that just came from our ticket prices. Yeah, Mike and I alone.
Yes, right. That's worldwide. By the way, the numbers in the U.S. were somewhere in the $200 and something million, and then the rest is taken up by the rest of the world there. But a pretty impressive, by far, by 30 or 40 million or more, has beat the nearest follower, nearest other contender for the record. So,
but nothing compares with this. Nothing compares with this, because George Lucas took a deal to say, I will charge you less for my director's fee if you just give me the rights to the products. And they said, oh, okay, woohoo. Oh boy, that's where the real money is on this little character.
That's for sure. And I wonder if does that $4 billion deal include all the merchandising?
Good question. If you were
Yeah.
George Lucas, would you want to give up the merchandising? You might.
Well, yeah, you might, because maybe it's a big pain in the butt. Who knows?
So hopefully we weren't, as we were presenting this to you to this evening. The entire purpose was just to get you started on your own discussions. You could ask things that aren't appearing anywhere else, and then say, hey, what's the deal with this guy or this girl, or when are we going to get an answer to this? Why is it so repetitive? All the rest of it. And then, what do you think they're going to do next? It may be 3 years before they have the next one coming out. Besides, they're going to be working on this with a different director. They're going to do this anthology of other stories set in the same universe, but without any of the same stars, and maybe with the tip of the hat. Gee, did you hear about this guy that was in a Tatooine? Yeah, I heard vague rumor, and then on to something else. Maybe not any of the same characters. They're going to milk it for all their worth. Well, wouldn't you? Of course you would. So, and then lots more products that you can buy and everything else. We just did the show for fun. We made mistakes during the show, certainly. You don't need to send us emails saying, I got the, yeah. But please try to explain to me why it seems like the inside of the Millennium Falcon seems bigger in some ways than the crew quarters.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was an adequate, rehearsal for a real show.
Okay, so I'd see it again on satellite TV. The 3D effects were okay. They weren't throwing stuff on our face, right in our face. They weren't doing a lot of that. I kind of expected more 3D impressions. I didn't see that. It was worth it. I mean, if you're going to see it, the sound system where we were could have been a little bit more dynamic. I mean, it's kind of a puny sound system there, no more than normal shoot 'em up movies. Mike, I mean, we're not going to review the popcorn, but what did you think about the presentation? Oh, we can't forget about the guy. There's this guy that was over on the right side of us. We expect this from kids. We expect it, maybe some of it from fans, but this guy was jumping up and down and applauding at. You see this at football games or on TV. I'm winning. You're not winning. The team's winning, and you're not even in the same town as the team. You're winning nothing. But this guy, every single time there was a joke, he was laughing his head off. Okay, we laughed at some of the jokes. We know where the jokes are. But this guy, when something would blow up, he'd go, yay, and jump out of his seat and start clapping his hands. You're clapping your hands at a movie?
Right, and every time a familiar character came on screen, like one that we all would know, they would start, and it wasn't just him, it was the whole group that was with him. They were all applauding, and
some of the guys are the TIE fighters. You could recognize them from a previous episode. How bad am I that I know that that's one of the characters? But they were like, hey, we're seeing that guy that we don't know his name. Okay. Okay. Who is that guy? They probably know his name and his stage name and his real name and how many children he has and what he had for breakfast. Okay. All right. I'm glad you enjoyed the movie. We did too. We've seen some plot elements that were a little strange, and maybe in a few years we'll get some answers. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah. 2 years. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. So go see it again if you like. Use part of this movie review of spoiler alert kind of thing here to talk a bit about some of the stuff that you saw. If you see us on the street, stop us and talk to us, but don't hit. You can't leave this show without saying it. Come on, Mike, you got to say the line. You have to say the line.
I do. What line are you talking about?
Oh, please. Goodbye, everybody, and may the force.
Yes, and maybe the force be with you. Yes, of course.